Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Andrea and today we're going to talk about the importance of keeping good time, and I'm going to show you two ways you can drastically improve it if that's an issue for you. You know, timing is so important. Amongst professional musicians, there's a saying that goes something like this. You know, you can skip a note, you can mess up a note, you can play the wrong note, you can get that bend a bit out of tune, it doesn't matter, but do not mess up the timing. And it's true, you know, we are primordially sensitive to it. It's something ancestral, it's something that since the beginning of time, I think we developed this sensibility for rhythm. At the same time, we often focus on other things. When we start playing the guitar, you know, we want to go fast. I certainly did that. You know, I played all my scales, but I never really thought of the importance of time until somebody pointed it out to me. And that was a wake-up call. And now I've been, of course, for years now, very sensitive to it. And I always point it out to people, it's such an important part. Then, of course, you don't have to be metronomical all the time. You can ebb and flow with it. You can maybe rush it a bit here and there. You can, you know, go behind the pocket some other time. And that's a choice, a creative choice, but it should be a choice. You know, it shouldn't be dictated by your lack of understanding of timing. Anyway, so let's get started. And I'm going to show you how you can get better at it. Before I show you these two very simple exercises you can use to improve your timing, you might want to identify the problem if you have one. If you think you have a problem with timing, you probably do, so you're set. But if you want to be more specific, you could do this very simple thing. You can either set up a metronome, or in your DAW recording software, you can set up a grid with a metronome on it, and just try to play along with it, trying to be as precise as possible. So really try to land on the beat. Then after a minute or so, you can zoom into the waveform and you'll see where the metronome is or where the grid is and when you're hitting the note. For a lot of people, the problem is you're rushing. So you're playing slightly ahead of the beat or a lot ahead. And that usually means you're not sure and you're not confident into your timing sensibility. And so you're always trying to rein it in. You know, you're trying to prevent any problems from happening. That usually sounds very stressed. It sounds very strained when you play. It's not very pleasant to listen to. Some people are so relaxed, they kind of fall behind the beat. So this will not be the best way to fix it. Don't try to compensate too much, because then, you know, all kinds of other problems will show up. But try to at least understand that, okay, I have this tendency, I'm always kind of rushing or I'm falling behind. Most people will have a problem rushing. So now let's see how we can fix that. The big problem most people have with keeping time is that they have a hard time understanding the distance between one beat and the next. And this is exacerbated by slower tempos. So these two tricks I'm going to show you kind of deal with that, and we try to overcome that problem. So the first one would be being able to count subdivisions. It's very simple. So you have a metronome, and if you try to count 1, 2, 3, 4 and playing that on top of the metronome, you might find it hard to predict when the next beat is going to hit. So subdivisions really help here. So we're going to play 8 notes and we're going to count it like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the and will be right in the middle: 1 and 2 and 3. It's kind of like when kids want to learn how to count seconds and we teach them 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippis, right? The same concept. So the 8 note will help you out by simply filling up that space. Now you can make this even easier for yourself if you start counting triplets: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It simply takes enough time for your mouth to generate those sounds that they will fill up the distance between the beats. You can even take it further and count 16th notes, and now hitting the right beat is almost inevitable. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and you have all these checkpoints in between the beats. Do this long enough at different speeds and you'll be amazed by the results. For the second exercise, we're going to move to our instrument and we're going to take a very simple chord, something you don't have to think about. In this case, just a simple D minor 7th, and we're going to strum it at a very slow tempo. And we're going to try to hit that metronome 1, 2, 3, 4 perfectly. Now we're going to find the same problem as before. We don't know when exactly the beat is coming. So we're going to do the same thing as before. We're going to try to fill up this space, but instead of doing it by counting it, we're going to do it physically. We basically become a human pendulum. And so let's try this. Imagine a ceiling and a floor. right? And the ceiling and floor will be further away or closer together depending on the speed or the tempo of the exercise. If I go very slow, I want more distance. If I go faster, I want a shorter distance. So for something like this, I might hit this ceiling here and this floor. You can use a mirror, you can use a camera, it doesn't matter, and establish this movement. And this will really help you out hitting that beat right on the head, right? If I were to go a bit faster, then I would just simply make the ceiling to floor distance smaller. Right? If I want to go slower, I will just exaggerate it a bit. Now, of course, I'm only playing downstrokes, but you could do one of each. Simply make sure you're conscious of the physical aspect of playing. Usually you don't want to move too much when you play guitar, but for this exercise you can do some very wide, evident movements. This will really help you out. Before we conclude this video, I want to point out that sometimes your rhythmic problems could come not from a misunderstanding of rhythm, but actually from technical problems, technical difficulties, so your fingers just don't get there in time. That's why I'm keeping it very simple with very simple chords. You can use very simple scales, you can do that, but chords are really helpful because you can get really those swinging motions very wide. So don't worry about applying it to everything you play. This is just something to get the rhythm in here, because eventually you want rhythm to be instinctual. You don't want to have to think about it. You want to really abandon these two exercises I gave you today. You want to abandon them probably pretty quickly, but just to interiorize rhythm, these are great. So I hope you really enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please do like, subscribe, but especially join us in the comments. We have a thriving community of guitar players of all levels, all ages, so please feel welcome anytime, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye.